So, there's a break in the D.Gray-man manga, and with all these plot developments going on, all I can do is either make theories, go crazy, or obsess over FF9 again. But since I'm obsessing over my monkey 24/7, and I've already gone a bit loopy, I'll theorise for now. Just to warn you, there's going to be spoilers for the latest chapters. Also, I'm not saying I totally believe these ideas, they're just trains of thought I've had over the last week. If there's something I've missed, feel free to let me know. There are some other theories out there, but these are the ones I came up with when I was bored. We're clear on that? Good. Now let's give this whole thinking malarkey a shot. So, as we recently found out, Alan is, in fact, the 14th Noah. Not that it wasn't a dead cert from the fandom, and I hope you're all feeling guilty that it really ended up happening. I know I am. That leads me to think about what's going to happen next and if there's any deeper meaning in the previous chapters. In other words, I spent all day looking through onemanga.com while finding any little bit of subtext I could lay my hands on. Theory 1. It was said in a much earlier chapter that the innocent's weakness is Noah's, and the Noah's weakness was the innocent's. Alan's going to have both within his body at the same time, so will they negate each other? Will the innocent stop the 14th from taking over completely, so Alan doesn't disappear, and the Noah stop him from activating his innocence? He'd be pretty much a sitting duck then if he couldn't use either side to any effect. I mean, if he does become the 14th properly, the Order will hate him because he's the enemy, and likewise with the Noah. At least if the two sides don't negate each other, he can still fight. I guess if he couldn't fight, Laveria would just use him as bait for the Earl or something. Theory 2. This one isn't so much a theory as an observation. In chapter 165 on the first page, it shows a pre-recorded message from Cross that Tim Campy had. When it says, "I found it not long after that rainy day," I'm assuming the narration is set after Alan finds out that he's the 14th. If it's just plain one side of a conversation Cross had with Alan, then that would mean someone else had found it, and probably that Cross had gone off somewhere again. I don't think this part was meant to be looked back on with new meaning after seeing the latest chapter, but I'm still curious about it. Theory 3. Now this one's been bugging me most of all. Alan's appearance at the end of chapter 167. Lynn Ellie notices something different, and I know I did, but I couldn't figure out what. Apart from the eyes anyway. He'd lost that energetic spark, which worries me about what happened after the scene change, so I looked at the panel for a really long time. Then I noticed that the parting in his hair was complete to one side, showing his pentacle really clearly. I know his hair's gone off to the side before, but that was mainly when he'd activated his innocence, and even then his fringe was in the middle. So I checked the previous page and saw it was the same thing there. I don't know if it's anything significant, but there's still something unsettling about that image and I can't put my finger on it. So for now, I'm sticking with the eyes and hair. Theory 4. Theory 4 is just really a mishmash of thoughts I had, since none of them are enough to use an entire section for. First of all, I found it ironic that the first time Alan used the 14th's ability was to save the very friends he'll most likely have to fight when he becomes the 14th. Also, if the 14th memories are eroding him away, or something like that, then will there be an instance where one of the other exorcists remembers something to do with one of their missions and he doesn't remember it happening? That thought really creeps me out, to be honest. Also, will Alan be able to see the memory of the 14th implanting his memories into him? It would certainly be an interesting way of finding out what happened and when. I've got a couple of other thoughts, but I can't explain them properly, and I'll probably wait until later chapters before even starting to make sense of them. So, thanks for listening, and I'd love to hear what you think. Remember, I never said I really believed any of this. They're just random thoughts I had. I just hope Ashina can keep us guessing and not cop out on the story or anything. Also, I'm thinking of making a second video discussing the lyrics for the 14th song. If you want to give your thoughts on the song or anything else, just leave a comment or PM me.